In a sea of games filled to the brim with ways to spend money, sometimes, and only sometimes, something interesting happens. Every once in a while, a game comes out that's different from the rest. It's more fun than the rest. It's more fulfilling than the rest. It's less greedy than the rest. Today we're talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a game that is in a league above the rest. There is no possible way this video will do justice for this game, because this isn't just another game, it's a work of art. From its combat and progression to its story, music, and literal art design, it is something to be experienced. I can't give you that experience in a video format, but what I can do is one of two things. I can hopefully convince you to play the game for yourself, it's on Game Pass by the way, or we can brew up a little echo chamber and gush all over the game together. Either way, I get to talk about the game and what makes it so special, so I'm happy. Let's set the stage. We're in a city called Lumiere. It's very French. The whole game is, in fact. It's all just super French. Across the sea from Lumiere is a massive monolith with a number painted on the surface. Each year, the paintress repaints the surface one number lower. Everyone who is older than the number then withers away. They call this a gommage. To combat this, Lumiere sends out expeditions in order to stop the paintress, typically made up of people who are next in line to gommage. Hence the name, Expedition 33. That's the setup, and from there, the game hands you the wheel. You're caught up, ready to go, and from now on, you're along for the ride with Expedition 33. Throughout the game, you'll be chasing answers for just about everything. Who made the hostile Neverons? Why are the wooden dolls talking? Who is the paintress? What is the gommage? Why is Maëlle getting visions? Your questions will stack higher and higher, and the game will drip feed you some answers here and there, but those lingering, bigger questions will be the main driving force behind the campaign. The story is nothing short of incredible, quite possibly the best story told in a video game, and it's largely because this format is needed to tell this story. It's a story about grief and death, and it needs that extra long runtime to build everything up. I'm being purposely vague with the story because, quite frankly, everything is a spoiler. Showing gameplay from even the second act is a spoiler. Showing gameplay from the third act is an even bigger spoiler. There's a mystery to everything that doesn't get unveiled until late into the game, but there's always a steady stream of intrigue sprinkled here and there. You'll get answers for smaller questions, only for it to raise bigger ones. It's dark and depressing, but there's also moments of humor and whimsy, of heartfelt characters and conversations. It's one of the few games that feels rewarding to simply watch the characters interact. No one is written to be one note, and no one comes off as annoying. It's a group of mature people dealing with mature things in a mature manner. It's refreshing to see well-written characters across the board.
We were stolen by my arch nemesis, the one whose every step shakes the foundation of the world, the one known as François.
Okay.
They're well-mannered and likable, and it's a big reason why I wanted to see the adventure through to the end.
But it helps, you know? To focus on the things I do understand, on the people I care about and who care about me. And, now I feel a little less lost, because at least we're lost together. What? What? Stop it. Too cheesy? No. Well, if it makes you feel better, I was even more lost when I was 16.
I heard that was because you were only thinking about girls.
Yep. But guess what? The girls weren't thinking about me at all.
I believe that.
But this is a coherent experience. The characters and gameplay are closely intertwined, and this moment here encapsulates that perfectly. The expedition just arrived and was met by a grueling ambush by an unknown adversary. Many lives were lost, and those who did survive were separated. Our main man, Gustave, is coping with the loss of his teammates, and struggles to find the motivation to continue on. Thankfully, just before he's able to do anything rash, Lune finds him and is able to comfort and inspire him. It's an understandable reaction from Gustave. Going from death being this peaceful transition from human to flowers to basically the beaches of Normandy, which also took place in France. Huh. But as dark and depressing as Clair Obscur can be, it can also be very exciting, and this moment right here is what sold me.
Putain.
Combat is a huge part of Clair Obscur, and while on the surface it might look like a poor man's Persona, it's actually quite a bit better than Persona. It's a turn-based RPG, yes, but it's also quite a bit more than that. For instance, when it's not your turn, you parry and dodge attacks from enemies, which isn't just a gimmick, it's vital to your success. But some attacks require their own specific counters, like jumps or eventually special gradient counters. This is all pretty straightforward, but it does stay interesting through the different enemy attack patterns. Each new foe is a challenge, as they all attack in different sequences. Learning when to play safe with a dodge or go for the counterattack with a parry keeps you on the edge of your seat during combat, and it's incredibly thrilling. That being said, there are moments where the dodges and parries go a little too far. There are some attacks, especially on certain bosses, which I can't show, that either one-shot a party member or worse, removes them from the fight entirely, unable to be even revived. The only way to counter this is to avoid it entirely, meaning you have to get the timing down or you lose. Or you could be like me and throw yourself at a boss until you get lucky and it happens to not use that attack. Either way. This is the single major blemish on the game. Every other issue I have is simply a nitpick and doesn't really affect the enjoyment of the game. These one-shot mechanics, however, are a genuine problem. Not so much that it ruins the fun entirely, but enough to cause some slight frustration occasionally. It's not a deal breaker, and it only happened maybe 3 times in total, but it's worth mentioning since it's really my only issue with the combat. Or rather, only issue with the game, really.
Flames. On me.
The other half of the flashy combat happens before the fight even begins, through preparation and perk selections. Each party member has their own playstyle with unique things to manage. For example, Lune has stains, which she gains through dealing elemental damage, then expends on other spells to increase the effects of them. Gustav has a robotic arm which he can charge up through dodges, parries, and dealing damage, which he then spends on larger attacks. The theme of building up then knocking down is common across most party members, but each offer different means to do so, and often have effects and skills that benefit other party members. Mael can easily switch to her most powerful stance, Virtuose, by using a certain skill against an enemy that's on fire. Pair this with Lune, who has a plethora of fire skills that ignite enemies, and now you have an easy way to set up Mael for big damage. This is just one early game example of the potential, not only within a party member's kit, but across members. And crafting your own dream team is not only fun, but quite easy with the amount of options at your disposal and the relative simplicity of effects. Things don't always go according to plan though, so while you may have a killer combo lined up, the enemies can still throw a wrench into the works. This is not typically my preferred turn-based style. I'm usually more for the tactical turn-based games where your positioning matters much more. But here, there was enough thought I was putting into each fight that I was consistently shifting the team up to deal with new threats. The combat system has you thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. Combined with the various counterattacks during enemy's turn, the combat system is just amazing. I don't know how else to put it. There's a lot of moving parts, but you're learning one thing at a time, so it's very approachable. It ends up being a lot of things to manage, but you start out with just a dodge, parry, and a couple of skills. Then it's a few more skills, then it's another type of counterattack, then it's a little more, and a little more, until by the end of the game, you've got a massive list of skills, effects, and counters that you've built up to. But none of it is confusing because you've picked it all up over hours and hours of gameplay. There are so many options for how you want to deal big damage, and it's fruitful to work up to those huge attacks and have them actually deal such ludicrous damage. It just feels so good, and it's a loop that doesn't get old. Building up to a massive attack just to chop off half of a boss's health bar is so gratifying, and a big part of that is because you've done it yourself. You're given the tools to build up to that, but how you actually achieve it is up to you. How I pummel enemies and how you do it are probably going to be vastly different, and it's those options that keep the mental gears turning with each fight. If they were to push an update to adjust the story mode difficulty to bring down those one-shot moments, it would seriously be perfect. Ooh, I guess I should mention the gearing system. So gear comes in two forms, Pictos and Luminos. Pictos have stats attached to them like extra armor, health, speed, but Pictos also have perks attached to them. When you finish a few fights with a Pictos equipped, you then get a Luminos. A Luminos is the perk without the stats of the Pictos, and everybody can use it simultaneously. Each character has Luminos points which you use to activate these perks. It is kind of confusing to explain because of the unorthodox names, but it actually is quite simple. It's also extremely awesome. There's a ton of Pictos, like seriously over 100, and many of them offer game-changing effects. Then when you use that Pictos a few times, you unlock it as a permanent Luminos. So even if the stats of the Pictos gets outclassed, you can still use the perk with the Luminos points. Combining these perks will net you some massive power gains, especially when you start considering the different weapons you can use. Weapons are weapons. It's pretty self-explanatory. Weapons are character specific and they house their own perks, only these perks are much more specific to that character. So maybe Luna gets a weapon that gives her a random stain on a free aim shot. You give her Pictos and Lumina to boost her free aim damage, and boom, now you got yourself a build. And that's just one example. It's this really customizable and modular system that gives you a lot of options for each character, and it's extraordinarily fun. So while the combat is flashy, it also has the chops to back it up, which can be said about the world itself as well. It doesn't just look great, it's got secrets and rewards that have you checking every single corner. Come on, come check out this deep dark cave, I bet you there's something good in there. And then they're just like, is something good in there? It's broken up into levels stitched together by a world map, which you can freely explore so long as you have the means to get there. Inside the levels though, there's no map, which isn't that big of a deal, but, big but, there's a lot of forks. Not those forks, you know what I'm talking about. You're walking down a path and, oh look, a side area. No wait, this is the main path. Okay, let's go back to the actual side area. Wait a minute, this is the main path. Is it? Listen, no map, no problem. You really don't need a map in this game, it's kind of hard to get lost. There are, however, subtle hints as to which is the main path. Sometimes it's a couple of lamps, sometimes they tell you, and sometimes, like right here, the statues are pointed in a certain direction. But other times, it's a little too subtle. Take a look at this image and tell me which is the main path and which is the optional offshoot. Some of you probably say left, others the right. Well, you're all wrong because they both lead to the same exact area. There's a lot of moments like this where you end up walking in a circle as you try to explore everything, and there were times that I missed stuff because the path I took, which I thought was an offshoot, happened to be the main path. This is not a major issue, but it's slightly more than a nitpick. It didn't hurt my enjoyment because ultimately the side areas were fun to explore and the artwork of the levels made the backtracking less tedious, but there was a feeling of disappointment when I felt like I missed something. Pause. Disappointment because I felt like I missed something. If that's not telling, I don't know what is. It wasn't a disappointment because, oh, there's a piece of good gear that I missed. It was a disappointment from, I might have missed something in this game. While I was playing, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to see and collect everything. And that's not a feeling I often get in games. Nothing in Clair Obscur feels like filler. Every piece of this game feels like it's meant to be there. Like every piece is a part of the greater vision. And that's where I think Clair Obscur really blew me away. It's this consistent feeling of purpose within the game. The dialogue is well written and doesn't drag on. The story is full of surprises and memorable moments.
I will never join you again.
There will be a lot of fighting, though.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true.
There will be a lot of fights.
Exactly.
Count me in then.
The gameplay is engaging, with just the right amount of challenge. The RPG mechanics are deep enough to really get into, while still being easily understandable at a high level. The exploration is rewarding, and there's always something to find to add to your collection of stuff. Oh, and before I forget, there are cosmetics that you can find in the game. Let me say that again. There are cosmetics you can find in the game. Pick any other game, literally any other game, and they would probably charge you for these outfits. But not here. It's just very refreshing. Thank you. And then the soundtrack. Oh my goodness. You'll probably think, wow, this sounds pretty good. Let me check it out. So you look it up on Spotify or YouTube or wherever, only to find that it's 8 solid hours. But shockingly enough, purchasing this soundtrack actually comes with a 30-hour game. That's cool. It's 8 hours of incredible music spanning across many different genres that each fit the scene perfectly. Pair the soundtrack with the effects in combat and it makes you feel awesome. Pair it with these somber moments and it makes you feel terrible. But like, in a good way. A good terrible.
A storm is coming.
You're outmatched.
You do it.
Clair obscur dans des hauts pins, tu trouveras sans elle. Clair obscur, double de main.
If you're gonna give someone flowers, you should probably do it before they wither and die.
What, the flower? Or Sophie?
Ooh, dark.
I'm here.
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
If I haven't made it clear enough, play this game. In the sea of microtransactions and remasters, we finally have something new and exciting. Heartfelt story, addicting combat, rewarding exploration and loot, and wonderfully weird visuals. It's a game that consistently pulled emotions out. One moment it's sad, then it's epic, then it's scary, then it's sad, and then it's sad again, and it's sad, and I'm not crying, you're crying. Maybe we're both crying right now. No, but really, the amount of emotions this game invokes is impressive, and none of it feels forced. It's masterfully executed. Everything about Clair Obscur feels like it was made with passion and talent, and it's an incredibly fun game because of it. It's constantly introducing new mechanics to its gameplay, while at the same time pulling the rug out from underneath the story. There are surprises around every single corner, and it is hands down one of the best games made in years. Possibly ever. It's one of the best games ever. I said it. It's just that good. I love the characters, the visuals, the music, the gameplay. I love everything about this game. It is so much fun. It's what the kids would call a banger. I think. It's also only $50. I don't know why they did that. It's definitely worth full price, but I'll take it. Also, it's on Game Pass. Just saying, it's on Game Pass. Just saying, if you have Game Pass, play this game. There's no excuse to not play this game if you have Game Pass. It's on Game Pass. Did I mention it's on Game Pass? It's also got New Game Plus. So if you'll excuse me, I need to go play Clair Obscur. Again. I can't stop.